In a previous episode, James and I talked about the retirement crisis in America. Now, we've got way too many people hitting the retirement age without sufficient funds to quit working. Yeah. So what recommendations do you have for people in that situation?
Yeah, that's an accurate statement. Even according to the Federal Reserve in 2022, half of American households had no savings in their retirement accounts. And the unfortunate reality is that if you do not have the funds to retire in the lifestyle you want, you really only have two options, and that is adjust your lifestyle or keep working. That's an unfortunate position to be in when you're at an age where you'd really like to stop working. I think some of the things we're going to talk about today, I'm going to come back to it, is what we do is retirement planning. And a lot of the things we're going to discuss today are going to go back to that. And ideally, if you are I'd say within 10 years of retirement, a retirement plan is an excellent tool. It's a tool, but it's also like an exercise to go through, because basically what it does is you say, here are the current asset levels that I have. If I continue to save at this level, given this rate of return, and I retire at this age with this retirement lifestyle, like a dollar amount, just say 10 grand a month after tax. And then you have to take into account taxes and inflation, because 15 years later, say you want to retire this year, and you're like, I want to live, my wife and I are going to live off 10 grand a month after tax. That covers our bills. Well, 10 years from now, that's going to be, you're going to need $12,500 a month. That's 10 years, 2.5% inflation. It's actually more than that compounded. So someone wants to retire at 60 and they're like, okay, I have the assets to retire now and I can live this lifestyle. Well, in 10, 15, 20 years, everything's going to cost more and you're going to need more money, and you're retiring on a portfolio at the same size. So that's why the retirement plan is good. So you can kind of forecast if you can afford to live that lifestyle. So to bring it back to what I said earlier, if you can do that about 10 years before you hang up the cleats, as they say, say you're 50 years old and you want to retire at 60, it's a good thing to do, because then you could say, oh, well, I don't have those assets to live that lifestyle that I want. If I saved an extra 5 grand a month for the next several years, and then a couple of years, an extra 10 grand a month, could I actually live the lifestyle I wanted? So going back to, if you do the retirement plan maybe 10 years before you retire, you have time to make adjustments so that when you get to retirement, it's not a surprise where you and your spouse or whoever, you are planning to live a lifestyle, and then the day you retire, if you haven't planned for it, then you find out you can't live that lifestyle. I mean, it's hard for anyone to take a step back in your standard of living, especially the older you get. And now I'm in my mid 40s, and it's hard for me to take a step back in my retirement lifestyle. So, right. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a proponent of radical lifestyle change when you're young. Don't get into that expensive lifestyle and just keep saving money. But when you get older, you're right. Changing lifestyle, that's a hard thing. I saw a video where this lady, she was 60 years old, and she sat there talking about how she can't afford anything. She's living in someone else's house. She's renting a room in someone's house. And then she's talking about all this stuff. And then she finally goes, yeah, and so my horse, she's got a horse. And I'm like, what? Those things are expensive. What are you doing? You got to get rid of your horse. Radical lifestyle change. But, kind of a pet, so it's hard to get rid of.